Let's get started. Welcome to the Service Area Annual Budget Workshop. Today is Tuesday, August 18th. It is now 11:08 a.m. I'm Alex Georgiadis, Service Area Director. Across from me here is Service Area Administrator Delise Rodriguez. Joining us online, we have Jacob Waddle, General Manager. We also have Ray Feverett, Finance Manager. From the committee, we have Patricia Almundaray joining us, and we have Nick Fertig joining us, and we also have Patrick, what's his name?
Robertson.
Robertson. Sorry about that, Patrick. So we have a quorum. Do we have a motion to call the meeting to order?
Motion.
Excellent, thank you. And let's get started. Jump right into the budget. High level. The management proposal right now is new dues at $572.25, which is a 14% increase. Let's go through the budget. Any questions, any notes to point out?
I mean, I have questions. Mostly my questions are, so the major portion of the increase is based off of the reserve catch-up, correct?
That's a large portion of it, correct.
And that reserve catch-up is specifically for roof replacement or for?
Basically, we follow the reserve study. So every year they give us a year-end balance that we should be at. So we're trying to track that. So we're behind. Coming into this year, we had a shortage showing. We were down 31,000 at the beginning of this year, and then we're tracking by the end of this year, we're going to be down 45,000. So that's why we're trying to do catch up. And I believe, Ray, this is an interfund catch up, 15,000. Is that right? There's historical story on that?
Uh-huh.
Okay. So, I mean, one option, if you want, Nick, we've done in other service areas, instead of taking the full hit in 1 year, is to pay off that 15,000 interfunds over maybe 2 years or 3 years. So it slightly lessens the impact. So we'll spread it out over, instead of 1 year paid off 2 years, 3 years. So 15,000 or 7,500 or 5,000 to do it in 3 years.
Yeah, for just some added clarity, the interfund is when there were allocations that either the monthly allocation wasn't made, or there was borrowing against the reserves for operating, and it creates that interfund line. It can't be wiped away because it's a reserve fund, and so it does need addressed. It does, Alex just mentioned, it doesn't have to be addressed in full on a year. It's actually been standing for a while, but just to clean up, and when the auditor asks, they kind of, the intent is, what is your plan to eventually remediate this interfund? So as Alex mentioned, you could look at doing a smaller contribution on that catch-up line to either half or a third the amount that's in there now. That would help your dues. But the main thing, and I'll let Alex talk on it more, is is making sure you're properly funded for 2027 when you have your phase with the projects you have, since it's a big expense year out of reserves in 27.
Okay.
I don't have a copy of the reserve study, but what is the expenses coming up in 2027 in a nutshell? What large items do we have?
I was about to go over that with you. We could share it as well. But high level, 2027, we have roof coming in. And it's a 2-phase roofing project, it looks like. We had a 2017 and a 2021. So it's 2-phase broken up. So one phase is coming up 2027, and we have $370,000 for the roof work itself, and another $100,000 roughly for management. So we're looking about $467 we have allocated for that roof project with engineering or third-party quality control. Also in 27, we have gutters, shutters, and soffits. Those 3 items add up to another $143,000. But we're probably not going to execute those items, and we use that sort of as a buffer for doing our roof. Hopefully our roof comes in line. In other service areas, we seem to be falling in line with our projects versus reserve anticipated costs, which is a positive. But again, we keep that as a buffer in case we do need it. And then at the conclusion of the project, we could reevaluate our reserves, and hopefully we haven't really dipped into that. And then if we'll somewhat be ahead, we can reevaluate probably budget of next year and see where we stand with reserves. We're also anticipating doing another reserve study next year in 27, just to update our numbers.
So
we're trying. Mhm.
For the roof replacement on a 20-year shingle, I mean, I understand for insurance purposes, there's a lot of pushback from them to do it for coverage, and the insurance companies, I mean, that's a scam in itself. But
Yep.
is there any recent roofing projects that have been done where it's gone out past 10 years? Like, is there a chance through engineering, studies and
Exactly.
stuff like that?
We can do an evaluation, and we call it deferment, basically. You're gonna push
Yeah.
out the project. So we can definitely look at that when the time comes. I mean, one high-level indicator is we don't have reported leaks really in the service area, so that's
Yeah.
a great indicator. So then,
Yeah.
just on that alone, we could start pushing it. If we wanna get the engineer involved, it's a few $1,000s. They'll tell us, it's a
Well,
two-sided sword there. Go ahead.
If it's in your reserves to do in a year and you want to defer it on a structural or roof project, you still need to have that engineering
Okay.
inspection done.
Formality, okay.
Yeah.
So that's the answer. We're gonna do the
That way you
engineering.
can use it as the justifier for deferring.
Okay. So, like, I mean, because that's my thing. I mean, not to go off on a tangent on how much of a scam it is to pay for a 20-year roof and be forced to replace it in 10 years, but if we're not experiencing leakage, if we're not experiencing, if we're not seeing visual degradation as we drive by, if we're not
Yep.
having residents come to us and say, hey, my insurance company is saying I got to get this replaced, otherwise I'm not going to be insured. I would hope, that we'd be able to defer it to when that time comes, but that doesn't
Yep.
mean that the reserve shortage doesn't need to be addressed. I'm just hoping that we can continue to
Yep.
fund that reserve, and then
And part of that
possibly,
conversation is, costs will go up too, so we're gonna keep
Yeah, sure.
tracking and funding in
Sure.
that direction.
Sure.
But 15 years is the number we shoot for in all service areas, and that ties into the insurance as well. 15 years is the golden number we seem to be seeing.
we just fund to 10 as a worst case scenario.
Yeah, I mean, this one seems short. I don't know what the history is, but normally 15 years is what we're tracking for. They give a range here, 12 to 18. It should fall in 15, but for whatever reason, it came up in 27. But like you're saying, we could call the engineering next year, and it'll buy us some time and defer
I think
it
Part of
officially.
the history of that is I was here when it got replaced. And so in 14, they deemed the roof as needing to be replaced at that point because of the insurance claim, or not insurance claim, the litigation that broke out on the roof. So they at that point just repaired all the leaks that we had, and that's how it's been sitting since then. I know the roof got accelerated as a backup because we weren't sure if it was going to last the whole time or not. But I think we're at 12 years now, roughly. Yeah, 12 years. So.
Well, no, we're at 9 years, right? 2017.
No, we're at 12. No, it's 2014
Exactly.
when it got replaced. Yep.
No, 2017. 2017
Not-
and 2021.
No, but so that's the other phase. I'm in phase one, so my roof was replaced in 2014.
No. I was here and I moved in 2016. It's 2017. And when all that happened, that they replaced mine and all the problems
Right.
happened, it was replaced in 2021, January 2021, mine. And it's 2027 when yours was the last replaced.
I can
Yes,
pull the
it is.
permits up and look, but
Yeah, pull the permits. I have a lot of documentations here.
So keeping back
Okay,
on
I
track
mean,
though, it sounds like next
Yeah.
year, most likely we won't need to go into any replacement outside of just getting the engineering study back, and most likely we can move into a deferment for that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which brings you back to your question, or back to the topic of the
Yeah.
reserve catch-up line.
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, I think with the proposed increase from the CROA, which is making its way around Facebook, starting a mini revolution, it's going to be a tough pill to swallow given the CCDD increase, the proposed PRO increase, and then if we go up 14%, my thought process would be, I would be more comfortable spreading it out over 2 years. I would say 2 versus 3, just on the off chance that, we have a bad hurricane season or, something like that. I wouldn't want to drag it out for forever, but I think 7% is more we can stomach, 7-8% increase versus a 14% increase is a lot more palatable to people's tastes.
I agree with you. I agree with you, and at the same time, we can evaluate next year or whenever is necessary with the engineer to do a report and see how it is, because this one is 6 years. This building, that is gonna be 9. It's 9 year right now, so that is kind of a short time life for a roof.
Yep. So dropping that to 7,500 should shave $22 off of the increase, if I did my math correctly.
What is the anticipated date for painting? Or how long does the painting tend to last?
Painting we have scheduled for 29. So for instance, the
Okay.
shutters, I would put that into 29, and it doesn't look like it's a phase. It looks like they're all at once.
Yeah, we did it
We
all at
have
once.
slated. It was good. 144,000 in 29 we have that slated for.
Okay. And that's
and same thing-
honestly, that's another one that might be able to be deferred too, because I think,
Correct.
the steps and the stairs or something that might need to be looked at. But I think prior to that, I think the last paint job was like 18 years or something like that.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we could break it out. If the higher traffic areas, you want to hit them first and then push off the building exteriors to a later date, we can do that. Same thing, though. We'll probably need the engineering input just to make it official and cover our tail.
Yep.
Okay, so far, formal recommendation we have is to drop the interfund in operating from the 15,253 to about 7,500. Any
Yes.
other input on the budget?
I had one other observation, the pressure washing. So one of them is a lot more encompassing. I forget which one it is. It's either, I think it's the fall one, where they actually come and
Do the full building.
yeah, but the cost difference is only like $150, if I'm reading that right. We have 1973 budgeted for fall and 1758 for the spring. My suggestion would be that if that is true and accurate, I would recommend that the same type of cleaning that happens in the fall happens in the spring. Because
Yeah, if it's that close.
if it's that close, because that's the most common thing that I think gets folks upset when we pressure washes is like, hey, they pressure washed all the way up to my step, and then so if we got fronts, backs.
Well, that's one thing we'll do is the landings will include, that was a big complaint. A couple service areas had that. So we're not going to stop at the step and not do the landing. So we'll do the landing, that's for sure. But we'll verify. I think that might be an older number.
Okay.
That we're looking at. But I see what you're
Because
saying. If
the
they're that
fall
close, it
one,
makes
they
sense to do.
actually go into the back of our houses and do, the sidewalks and all. So my
Sure.
suggestion is if it truly is that close and that small of a figure, it makes so much more sense while they're mobilized to do the same thing twice.
It seems like you got a really good deal on that fall pressure washing. I'm gonna double check that.
I didn't get it out yet.
Well,
Up on last year.
okay.
We're just going to pull up last year's number just to confirm, see where we are.
I mean, the last year's number shows, the actual says right here on the budget that the actual fall pressure washing was $5,000, not 1,900.
Whoa.
It was
$5,000 is a lot of money for pressure washing.
Well, it's a full building
would
pressure
say.
washing. That's in line with the others, with the other service areas to do
1,790.
29 homes.
Central did it.
Yeah, we got a good deal.
We got a good deal.
I wouldn't
Is that what it
bank on
is?
that number.
So 2026 is just a good deal for the fall?
I don't think they
That
did the
number there, it
homes.
was
That's
last
last
year's
year. We're
numbers.
gonna bid those out now. They're going out for bid any day now
Okay.
for this year.
I don't remember them doing the houses.
The full? Yeah.
Yeah, we do. In the fall, full, the building,
And the monuments on the outside.
the monuments, yeah.
Okay.
All right.
That's
I
insane.
have another question
Sure.
before we go to, in regards to the gutters, do we need to replace them, or unless one is broken, it's gonna be replaced? That you said for 2029 or 8 or whatever.
But yeah, we had it for 27 slated. It's one of those items, we don't need it at the moment, so we'll defer it. As needed, we repair them, as they come up, but they seem to be in good shape.
Exactly.
What
We
is-
don't need to replace.
What is, do you guys truly think that we get a ton of value doing gutter cleaning annually?
It depends. I mean, you don't have a ton of,
There's
trees
not a lot of
up at
trees.
that level. And
Yeah,
the scope of work is organic material, so yeah, I see what you're saying. Other service areas express the same complaint. It was more the perimeter homes, or sometimes only in the back, only in the front. I mean, if you
Yeah.
want to look at modifying the scope possibly, just to trim it down a little bit.
that
That's
would be
another
my only
option.
thought, because, with 3 stories, none of the trees are up that high on some of them.
Yeah.
So,
And then the only negative though, if modifying the scope to do certain homes, we might get some blowback from folks saying, how come they got it, we didn't get it? But again,
Yeah.
it's organic material. We have to make that clarification. It's not granules from the roof material.
Yep.
All that stuff gets flushed out normally. We're looking
Yeah.
for organic material, twigs and leaves, that sort of thing.
and again, if it doesn't make sense, because it's gonna be so much money to get them out there to do the corners and mobilize, then they might as well do the whole thing while they're there. It's just
That's
something
what it
where I'm
comes
just,
down to.
yeah,
Exactly. Once they're mobilized, they're up there, they move through it pretty quickly.
yeah, that's the only thing that it doesn't irk me, but it's like, oh my God, they're up there for like 10 seconds and you're just like,
Yeah, Island Village, brand new community, baby trees. It was the same conversation we had.
Yep.
So we look at it,
And that cannot be done every 2 years.
it could, it would just,
Well, we need to see how we can save some money, so utilize it in other areas. If that is something that it could be done every other year, because really, we have been doing it every other year or so, because they haven't been checking for at least 7 years that I was here. There was something in the gutter, and that was never touched, and we never had a problem. So I don't know if we need to be spending every year that amount of money for just to spray it and be 5 seconds and go. If it starts to be a problem, and we can then
Yeah.
go back to every year.
Yeah, I mean, Jacob, what do you think? Yeah, go ahead, Jacob. Were you gonna say something on responsibility for service area? I don't know if it's a mandatory item that we have to cover once a year.
It's an interesting one. But this has been a big pushback by a lot of service areas. I mean, the responsibility of the service areas is maintenance of and making sure they're working properly. I know we in the past there was a stronger stance around we're doing this for one service area, so we're doing this for all service areas, and we're not bending on that. Because it can also adjust the full contract as far as power and numbers. I think that's something that should be reevaluated. I do agree that we have some service areas that don't have trees that necessitate an annual gutter cleaning. And is it a requirement for the maintenance? Is it the right due diligence? I think is kind of where that can go. I think it's fair to entertain it this year, or as far as budgeting goes, to entertain not.
I mean, do we exclude it from the budget or have the conversation next year when it comes around and see if we execute or not?
Anything that you do biannually or every other year, you shouldn't exclude from the budget, because then you're going to start seeing budget variations every year. Next year, you're going to have a budget increase because you added gutter cleaning. So if anything, you just fund it in half. You could fund for half the gutter cleaning this year, or in 2027, knowing that you're not doing it, and then that money sits in the account for 2028. So you're still not.
Okay.
I mean, you didn't, in a sense, buy down your dues this year because you're half fund. You'd see the effect in your assessments,
Yep.
seeing a decrease for 2027.
just,
So
I mean, yeah, just a thought. I'd
Yeah,
fund
it's
half
fair.
and-
It's a fair.
The gutter cleaning. The 19. So that's something we want to look at, is drop that number in half, that
I
19,
would,
18? Yeah,
I would,
Huh?
yeah.
Patrick, what's your input?
Regarding the gutter cleaning itself, I mean, I'm in the same boat. I have a tree directly over my front area, but it never clogs up the gutters. So I don't think
Yeah.
it really has any value in our area, to be perfectly honest. I don't think they're actually repairing it, to be honest with you. I think they're just cleaning it. Something's broken or bent, they don't seem to touch it, obviously.
And Patricia, you're on board?
My input is every other year if necessary.
Okay.
I would do it as necessary, but
So we'll drop that gutter cleaning 1918 to the half amount with the intention of maybe alternating years. And then see how it goes next year if something comes up, but with the intention of maybe skipping it next year. That's game plan tentatively.
And then my only other last comment for the budget is I think we're due for contract renewals for landscaping, correct?
That one is coming up.
December, I think, right?
End of, I have notes here, end of August of next year.
Oh, okay.
So what I did there, I put in a number of, so flat through the end of August, and then I put 20% on that final 4 months. So that's how I came up with that number. So as the time gets closer, we'll put it out for bid. We'll do it earlier in the year, so we're not too close to budget time, so we have a better idea where we stand with budget. But so that's the game plan. We'll see as time gets closer, probably, I'd say by May or June,
Okay. Some reason I thought it was December.
or just roll into a new contract. Yeah. Again, we'll see how we feel about the landscaper. Do we want to RFP it? And we'll see what his new prices are too. I'm sure he's not going to keep it flat.
Okay. That's all. I think that's all I had. Everything else is basically, there's no variance. It's just probably just expected increases. So everything else looks solid for me.
Yeah, I mean, the irrigation I put in, I doubled that up. It was 1,000, I went to 2,000 because we get hit with these irrigation expenses all the time.
Yep.
But otherwise, yeah, if there were minor increases.
I think we did a lot of the not in contract landscaping stuff this year, so that should fall back in line next year.
Yeah, I mean, we had 25, I went to 3,500 on that, just to allow us, because
Yeah.
a lot of items we have on hold this year because we're prioritizing.
Yep.
So I think with that, we could kind of move forward a little bit more next year. And we're banging out a lot this year. We're doing well this year.
Yep.
Just pacing, that's all.
Yep, and then I do like the tree stuff because I think we have some dead trees and we're gonna be forced our hand on some of that.
Let's see, I mean, tree trimming, a removal is big money, and it's a little bit more involved. So that 27 would be light for removal.
Oh, that's actually
more
just like
trimming.
that's just the crepe myrtle trimming?
Branches,
Okay,
exactly. Or even if there's any encroachment on the bigger trees
Okay.
on the reserve side, maybe. That's more what that had in mind there.
okay.
excuse me for a second. Alex, what you mean is like what we're talking about right now is tree trimming, like the ones that are by the houses to separate them
Correct,
from the houses.
correct. That's a priority, right?
That's what you're
That's-
gonna be doing for tree trimming.
Right. There's another level of tree trimming is to open up the canopy and allow more light. That's secondary. Our primary is to get the trees off the buildings. Encroachment, we call that.
Okay. So that's the expense that we're gonna it's gonna come in right now, just to,
Right now, yeah, I'm
Eh,
waiting for pricing on that. Exactly. I mean, ballpark
okay,
charges something like $450 per tree to cut a few branches. It's not cheap. That's a problem. So now, he gave me a big price. So now I'm specifically picking trees, which will be within our means.
excuse me, $450 to trim?
A couple branches. Yeah.
No,
Plus he charges extra for removal. Exactly. I'm pricing it out. I'm
Patri,
putting
you
all the
have-
service areas together.
Patrick, make your call.
please, we will like to see that, because if not, I'll go and trim it and you pay me the $450.
I know. And then we'll price it out though, because I have all service areas. I could give out a big project just of tree trimming. I mean, probably close to 6 figures. So it's a lot of work. So
Okay,
we'll push
we'll
back
talk
on the
about that.
contractor. Agreed. Patrick, any other input on the budget?
No, I think it's pretty much explanatory. I hope we get a reserve update study, this year, next year. Let's try to make sure those prices are in line, but other than that, I think we're good.
All right, so just to recap, committee recommendations are we're dropping the reserve catch-up from 15,253 to 7,500. And we're dropping the gutter cleaning item from 1835 in half. Our effective reduction there, I think we get you a live number. 8.9% looks like it's going to be the new increase. So dropping from 14.3% to 8.9%.
And just a small correction, that's dropping the reserve to 7,600, the reserve catch up to $7,626.50. So exactly half. So you clear it in 2 years.
Yep.
Just a bit more than the 75.
And what's the new number, the actual dues at the 8.9%?
545.
530. 545.30 is the new dues. Excellent.
Okay, so that went down from 572, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it
Okay.
went from a 14.8% down to an 8.9%. Yeah.
I think that's a little bit more digestible for folks, yeah.
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 Makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah. Substantial cut. That's good.
Okay, I have another question. I
Yes.
remember that some of the reserves were transferred to investment account or something, right?
Yes.
And how is that doing? What percent is it on? I'm sorry, I don't have that.
Ray will jump in on that. And then maybe if we're not doing work, we could maybe dump some more into investments as well in the meantime, if we're gonna actually defer next year as well.
You
Mhm.
currently you have one CDAR. The term is 6 months. The rate is going to be 3.5%. It's $450,000, and the maturity date is November 12th.
Okay.
Better than
Okay.
nothing.
So yeah, and then when the maturity date comes up, we'll reevaluate and see where our funds are if we want to add to that, since we don't anticipate projects coming up for some time.
Even with roof projects, if the results come back saying you need to do it, you probably still wouldn't do that till the second half of next year, meaning you could most likely renew this at a 6 month in November.
Okay.
Agreed. Good. Excellent. Any
Okay.
further input?
Not on the budget. When we adjourn this, I just have one thing for you just to
Mhm.
follow up on.
Okay. Patrick, Patricia, any final budget input?
No,
I'll go to my
we're
side.
good.
Excellent. Very good. So that will wrap up our budget discussion. If we could just get a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Excellent. Second?
Second.
Second.
Thank you. And that concludes our budget discussion for today. Thank you.